Good evening. This is All India Radio. I am Naresh Magho and with me is R.S. Raghu with the evening news. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says government is ready to talk to farmers on every issue. Prime Minister addresses concerns over MSP and contract farming, cautions against false propaganda. National COVID recovery rate improves to 95.4%. Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal says FDI policies are being made more facilitative, congenial and supportive of foreign investment. And in cricket, India were 9 for 1 at stumps in second innings against Australia on day 2 at Adelaide. As the nation fights the COVID-19 pandemic, we begin with a message of precaution to stay safe and protected by following these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, and focus on hand and face hygiene. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said the government is ready to talk to farmers on every issue. Addressing more than 50 lakh farmers of Madhya Pradesh at the Kisan Mahasammelan organized at Raisen virtually today, the Prime Minister assured to address the concerns of farmers on the recent agricultural reforms. He stressed that there is no reason for mistrust in these reforms done by the government and there is no place for lies. He asked the people to ponder why would the Swaminathan Committee report be implemented if the government intended to remove the MSP system. Mr. Modi accused the opposition of using farmers for politics, whereas the NDA government is dedicated to farmers for their development.
वो जिन चीजों का वादा करते थे वही बातें इन कृषि सुधारों में की गई हैं। मुझे लगता है उनको पीड़ा इस बात से नहीं है कि कृषि कानूनों में सुधार क्यों हुआ। उनको तकलीफ इस बात में है कि जो काम हम कहते थे लेकिन कर नहीं पाते थे वो मोदी ने कैसे किया, मोदी को इसका क्रेडिट कैसे मिल जाए। मैं सभी राजनीतिक दलों को हाथ जोड़ के कहना चाहता हूं, आप सारा क्रेडिट अपने पास रख लीजिए। आपके सारे पुराने घोषणा पत्रों को ही मैं क्रेडिट देता हूं। मुझे क्रेडिट नहीं चाहिए, मुझे किसान के जीवन में आसानी चाहिए, समृद्धि चाहिए।
The Prime Minister stressed that all the 3 agricultural laws are extremely beneficial for the farmers. He said these laws are very important for the progress of agriculture and these reforms should have been implemented in the country 25 to 30 years ago. He said the previous governments mentioned about implementing them in their manifestos but did not act. Mr. Modi said the Swaminathan Committee report on agrarian reforms was suppressed by the previous government while the NDA government has implemented it.
देश के किसानों की उन मांगों को भी पूरा किया गया है जिन पर बरसों से सिर्फ और सिर्फ मंथन चल रहा था। बीते कई दिनों से देश में किसानों के लिए जो नए कानून बने, आजकल उसकी चर्चा बहुत है। ये कृषि सुधार, ये कानून रातों रात नहीं आए हैं। पिछले 20-22 साल से इस देश की हर सरकार ने, राज्यों की सरकार ने इस पर व्यापक चर्चा की है। कम अधिक सभी संगठनों ने इन पर विमर्श किया। देश के किसानों के संगठन, कृषि एक्सपर्ट, कृषि अर्थशास्त्री, कृषि वैज्ञानिक, हमारे यहाँ के प्रोग्रेसिव किसान भी लगातार कृषि क्षेत्र में सुधार की मांग करते आए।
Prime Minister Modi said the Madhya Pradesh government is completely dedicated to farmers and continuous work is being done for the welfare of farmers in the state. He said 35 lakh farmers of Madhya Pradesh whose crops are affected due to hailstorms are being provided with a financial aid of 1,600 crore rupees which is being transferred directly to their bank accounts.
मध्य प्रदेश के ऐसे 35 लाख किसानों के बैंक खातों में 1600 करोड़ रुपए ट्रांसफर किए जा रहे हैं। कोई बिचौलिया नहीं, कोई कमीशन नहीं, कोई कट नहीं, कोई कटकी नहीं, सीधे किसानों के बैंक खातों में मदद पहुंच रही है।
The Prime Minister assured that the intention of the government is as holy as the river Ma Ganga and Ma Narmada. He said the government has stopped black marketing of urea. Prime Minister Modi said that the opposition parties are spreading the illusion that the MSP system will end. He said there is no greater lie than this.
अगर कानून लागू होने के बाद भी एमएसपी की घोषणा हुई, एमएसपी पर सरकारी खरीदी हुई, उन्हीं मंडियों में हुई, तो क्या कोई समझदार इस बात को स्वीकार करेगा कि एमएसपी बंद हो जाएगी? और इसलिए मैं कहता हूं, इससे बड़ा कोई झूठ नहीं हो सकता, इससे बड़ा कोई षड्यंत्र नहीं.
The Prime Minister said that the second big lie is that the mandis will end. He assured that no agricultural produce market of the country will be closed. In fact, they are going to spend more than 500 crore rupees on their modernization. He said the Farming Agreement Act they have enacted provides protection to farmers. The Prime Minister clarified that the new law has given freedom to farmers to sell in the mandi or outside. He said in contract farming, only crops or produce are transacted, but the land remains with the farmer. The agreement has nothing to do with the land. Even if a natural disaster strikes, the farmer gets full money. The Prime Minister said the new law has ensured a share of windfall profits to the farmers. On this occasion, Madhya Pradesh Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan also inaugurated agricultural infrastructure works worth more than 70 crore rupees. Kisan credit cards were also distributed to 2,000 fishermen and livestock farmers. The Chief Minister said that all the farmers of Madhya Pradesh are with Prime Minister Narendra Modi and congratulate and thank him for implementing the new agriculture laws.
वंदन कीजिए मोदी जी का, अभिनंदन कीजिए मोदी जी का. यह वो नेता है जिनने किसान की तकदीर बदलने का फैसला किया है. दृढ़ निश्चयी भारत की करोड़ों करोड़ जनता के हृदय के हार हमारे मुकुटमणि नरेंद्र मोदी, उनसे बड़ा किसान हितैषी कोई नहीं है.
Union Minister for Agriculture and Farmers Welfare Narendra Singh Tomar has appealed to farmers community to not to fall prey to misconceptions and false propaganda about the new farm law and urged them to mediate and understand the facts related to it. In a letter to the people issued in Mumbai late last night, Mr. Tomar cautioned the farmers against various political parties' vested political interest in inciting the farmers against the bill. He said, for the last several decades, the politics of collecting votes by mere proclamation has been practiced in the country, and the government which is implementing the declarations sincerely is facing opposition. He said, various political parties including Congress, AAP, Akali Dal, etc., who have been talking about giving farmers a free market to sell their produce, are now opposing the bill. He said one of the major problems of farmers is that most of the warehouses, cold storages or processing centers are located near big cities instead of villages, because of which farmers are not able to take full advantage of it. He said to address this imbalance, an agricultural infrastructure fund of 1 lakh crore rupees has now been created. Union Women and Child Development Minister Smriti Irani has said that the farm laws are for the benefit of farmers and opposition is playing politics and misleading farmers on the issue. She was speaking at a large gathering of farmers in Meerut district of Uttar Pradesh today. The minister said that central government has launched many schemes for the benefit of farmers. She said that those who tasted defeat in elections are now using farmers for their political gain. Union Minister of State Dr. Sanjeev Balyan, former Minister Satyapal Singh and many MPs also attended the function. Farmers from western part of the state attended the gathering. The Bharatiya Janata Party is organizing farmers' conclaves across the state to clear the misconception regarding the recent farm laws and to highlight the historic reforms introduced by the central government in the agricultural sector. Another Union Minister, Krishna Pal Singh Gurjar, also addressed a large farmer gathering in Agra district today and explained to the farmers the benefits of recent farm laws. He said that Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his government is working for the welfare of farmers.
The government has said that 45,92,000 paddy farmers have benefited from the current Kharif marketing season procurement operations with an MSP value of over 75,263 crore rupees. The Agriculture Ministry said that over 398 lakh tons of paddy have been procured from Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Telangana, Uttarakhand, Tamil Nadu, Chandigarh, Jammu and Kashmir, Kerala, Gujarat, Andhra Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Odisha, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra and Bihar. Punjab alone has contributed more than 202 lakh tons, which is 50.86% of the total procurement. The country's COVID-19 recovery rate has improved to 95.4% as more than 31,000 COVID patients have recovered during the last 24 hours. The Health Ministry said the total number of recoveries has gone up to over 95,20,000. The actual caseload currently comprises only 3.14% of the total positive cases. Presently, the total number of active cases in the country is around 3,13,000. During the past 24 hours, 22,889 new cases were reported, taking the total number of positive cases in the country to over 99 lakh. Currently, India's case fatality rate is 1.45%, which is one of the lowest globally. During the last 24 hours, 338 deaths were reported, taking the toll to 1,44,789. According to Indian Council of Medical Research, more than 11,13,000 tests were conducted during the last 24 hours. The total number of samples tested so far has reached 15,89 lakh.
After almost 9 months, Maharashtra government has allowed sportspersons to resume training for all outdoor sports in the state as per COVID-19 protocols. A notification was issued in this regard yesterday. However, the government has not allowed competitions or training camps till further orders. The government has instructed sports bodies to conduct practice sessions for under 14 groups separately as they are not allowed to train with senior players. More from our Mumbai correspondent.
Maharashtra Sports Minister Sunil Kedar said the Department of Sport and School Education has issued a 3-page notification. The department has divided sports into 4 categories, including non-contact games, minimal or medium contact games, full contact games and water sports with specific guidelines to be followed. The department has underlined that the trainers and sports persons will have to strictly comply with COVID-19 protocols and standard operating process, including social distancing and avoid crowding. During practice session, at a time, only 10 to 15 sports persons will be present at the predetermined timing. Sports persons and parents with cold, cough and fever will be strictly prohibited at the training grounds or centers. Switi Jain, AR News, Mumbai.
Ministry of Health has said that India's active COVID-19 cases per million population is amongst the lowest in the world. In a tweet, the ministry said that while active cases of COVID-19 per million population in India stands at 226, it is 2,557 in Turkey and 3,501 in Russia. It said, while in Brazil, the active cases per million population is 3,512. It is 10,515 in Italy and 21,144 in USA. In the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, all arrangements are in place for conduct of 8th and final phase of DDC elections and Panchayat Bypolls 2020 to be held tomorrow. Addressing a press conference in Srinagar today, State Election Commissioner K.K. Sharma said that in the 8th phase, voting will be held in 28 constituencies, including 15 from Jammu Division and 13 from Kashmir Division. He said that 168 candidates are in electoral fray, including 83 from Kashmir Division and 85 from Jammu Division for DDC elections in phase 8. A total of 6,40,443 voters are eligible to cast their votes. The SEC said that all the security measures have been taken to ensure free and incident-free elections tomorrow. He further stated that elections for Sarpanch and Panch Bypolls will also be held tomorrow. He said that Sarpanch election will be held in 84 constituencies for which 249 candidates are in fray, while in Panch Bypoll elections, 596 candidates are in the fray on 285 vacant seats. You are listening to the evening news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says government is ready to talk to farmers on every issue. Prime Minister addresses concerns over MSP and contract farming, cautions against false propaganda. National COVID recovery rate improves to 95.4%. Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal says FDI policies are being made more facilitative, congenial and supportive of foreign investment. And in cricket, India were 9 for 1 at stumps in second innings against Australia on day 2 at Adelaide. For quick news updates around the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal today said that there is tremendous scope for Australian investment into India as India has eased its FDI norms and opened up different sectors. Addressing the CII session on enhancing India-Australia bilateral economic and trade relationship, Mr. Goyal said that India has also opened up the agri sector for greater investments in food processing and value addition. He also launched the India-Australia Economic Strategy Report. The minister said that India is continuously trying to make the FDI policies more facilitative, congenial and supportive of foreign investment. He said that newer areas like space, nuclear energy and defense production will open up good opportunities for mutual engagement. Defense Minister Rajnath Singh today felicitated eminent scientists for their contribution and services to the nation at the DRDO award ceremony in New Delhi. On the occasion, Mr. Singh handed over a model of Astra Mk-1 BVR air-to-air missile to Indian Air Force Air Chief Marshal RKS Bhadauria, DRDO-made Indian Maritime Situational Awareness System to the Navy Chief Admiral Karambir Singh, and the Border Surveillance System to Army Chief General M.M. Narawane. In his address, Mr. Singh said, while the DRDO has promoted indigenization by developing several defense technologies on its own, on the other hand, it has also helped in indigenization and self-sufficiency of industries by transferring its patents and technologies. He said DRDO, while meeting the needs of the present, has also supported young scientist labs and taken equal care of future needs. Mr. Singh said, today when global conditions are changing, the defense equations are changing, and their new dimensions are coming to us, there is a need to fly higher.
In our special series Year Ender 2020, today we bring you a report on how the NDA government has strengthened the defense preparedness under the dynamic leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The much-awaited Rafale's journey from France to India was one of the most defining moments in the annals of defense history. Defense analyst Mukesh Kaushik highlights the journey of the Defense Ministry in this year.
2020 would be remembered a very happening year for defense sector. Reason were mainly two, COVID pandemic and face-off which is ongoing even today in Ladakh sector with Chinese PLA. This has triggered many activities in defense sector, but I would start from creation of the Chief of Defense Staff post and subsequently under CDS, a Department of Military Affairs was created, which is mainly working for jointness among the three forces. There have been series of missile tests, and I would also recall the arrival of 5 Rafale fighters from France which were inducted to Indian Air Force, and 5 more are to come very shortly. Series of missile tests including a test of BrahMos in Andaman Nicobar were also a highlight of this year.
Our correspondent reports India, with the second largest armed forces and with the 5th largest defense budget in the world, is in the path to achieve self-reliance in defense production.
A befitting reply to the incursion by China in Galwan Valley and foiling the terror tactics of Pakistan were among the high points of India's defense preparedness this year. Induction of Rafale aircraft along with acquisition of state-of-the-art weaponry added to the firepower. Defense Minister Rajnath Singh held the induction of Rafale in the Indian Air Force.
एयर फोर्स में राफेल का शामिल होना एक महत्वपूर्ण एवं ऐतिहासिक क्षण है और हम सब देशवासियों के लिए इस ऐतिहासिक पल का गवाह बनना एक गौरव का विषय है। मैं हमारी आर्म्ड फोर्सेस सहित समस्त देशवासियों को हार्दिक बधाई और शुभकामनाएं देता हूं।
Strengthening border infrastructure, emphasis on Make in India and Atmanirbhar Bharat for Made by India reflected the resolve of the government. The draft Defense Procurement Policy 2020 was a push forward for higher indigenous content. Government raised the foreign direct investment limit by automatic route in defense sector from the existing 49% to 74%. Corporatization of the Ordnance Factory Board and reforms in defense procurement are on the anvil. Setting up of a project management unit and providing support to the contract management purpose would go a long way in achieving this target of timely procurement. Expansion of NCC has been ensured in 173 border and coastal districts, and 1 lakh NCC cadets will receive special training. Digitization in defense has been taken up on priority. The year saw joint military exercises like Malabar, Sampriti, BIMSTEC, DMX 2020 exercise in the Dhanush, adding to the strategic power. Sobhagyakar, Air News, Delhi.
In an endeavor to address the inadequacies of capacity constraints and improve its modal share in total freight ecosystem of the country, Indian Railways has come up with a draft National Rail Plan. a long-term strategic plan called the National Rail Plan has been developed to plan infrastructural capacity enhancement along with strategies to increase the modal share of the railways. It will be a common platform for all future infrastructural, business and financial planning of the railways. This plan is being circulated among various ministries for their views now. Railways aims to finalize the final plan by January 2021. The Ministry of Railways in a statement said that to create capacity ahead of demand by 2030, which in turn would cater to growth in demand right up to 2050. It will also increase the modal share of railways from 27% currently to 45% in freight by 2030 as part of a national commitment to reduce carbon emission and to continue to sustain it and net zero carbon emission by 2030. The ministry said that as part of the National Rail Plan, Vision 2024 has been launched for accelerated implementation of certain critical projects by 2024, such as 100% electrification, multi-tracking of congested routes, and upgradation of speed to 160 km per hour on Delhi-Howrah and Delhi-Mumbai routes. President Ramnath Kovind will be on a 2-day visit to Goa from tomorrow. During his visit, Mr. Kovind will grace the commencement of the 60th Goa Liberation Day celebrations on 19th December. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will deliver the keynote address at ASSOCHAM Foundation Week 2020 tomorrow morning through video conferencing. The Prime Minister will also present the ASSOCHAM Enterprise of the Century Award to Mr. Ratan Tata, who will receive the award on behalf of the Tata Group. ASSOCHAM was established in 1920 by promoter chambers representing all regions of India. Having in its fold over 400 chambers and trade associations and serving over 4.5 lakh members across India, ASSOCHAM has emerged as the fountainhead of knowledge for Indian industry. All India Radio's weekly magazine Sanskrit Saptahiki will air its 25th episode tomorrow. Sanskrit Saptahiki, which started on the 4th of July this year, will complete 25 episodes of its telecast this Saturday. This weekly Sanskrit magazine is presented by All India Radio every Saturday at 11:20 a.m. and the repeat program airs every Sunday at 11:20 a.m. On the special occasion of its 25th edition, a young and dynamic Sanskrit scholar, Dr. Jahan Ara, will share her Sanskrit journey with the audience in an interview dialogue sequence. Dr. Jahan Ara, who comes from Mau, a town in Uttar Pradesh, has created a record in Sanskrit research that reveals very interesting facts on the Indian system knowledge. Dr. Jahan Ara has extensively researched in the plays of Mahakavi Kalidas and has also done remarkable research on the diagnosis of modern social problems reflected in the Mahabharata. Dr. Ara has been a postdoctoral fellow of Jamia Millia Islamia, giving inspiring lectures on Indian system knowledge.
सुनिए संस्कृत जगत से जुड़ी विभिन्न गतिविधियों पर आधारित कार्यक्रम संस्कृत साप्ताहिकी का 25वां विशेष संस्करण इस शनिवार प्रातः 11:20 से तथा पुनः प्रसारण रविवार प्रातः 11:20 से आकाशवाणी के समाचार चैनल FM गोल्ड पर।
In the light of public concern over high prices of onion in the market, the Department of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare has decided to extend the relaxation from the condition of fumigation and additional declaration on phytosanitary certificate as per the Plant Quarantine Order 2003 for imports up to 31st January 2021. The relaxation will be subject to certain conditions. Consignments of imported onions which arrive in Indian port without fumigation and such endorsement on the phytosanitary certificate would be fumigated in India by the importer through an accredited treatment provider. In cricket, India were 9-1 in their second innings against Australia at Adelaide in the first test match of the 4-match series at stumps on day 2. Mayank Agarwal and Jasprit Bumrah were at the crease when the stumps were drawn. The visitors lead by 62 runs. Earlier, India bowled out Australia for 191 for a first innings lead of 53 runs this afternoon. For India, Ravichandran Ashwin claimed 4 wickets while Umesh Yadav bagged 3 wickets. India were all out for 244 in the first session of play, adding only 11 runs to an overnight score of 233 for 6. Indian captain Virat Kohli had won the toss and elected to bat first. Kohli played A patient captain's knock of 74 and Ajinkya Rahane with 42 and Cheteshwar Pujara with 43 gave him able support in their first innings.
Benchmark domestic stocks today continued their rally, setting fresh records. The Sensex and the Nifty gained marginally amid negative Asian cues. A report from the Business World. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu today called for fully tapping the immense tourism potential of the northeastern states and stressed the need to improve air connectivity to the region. He said that ecotourism and cultural tourism can become the mainstay of development in the northeast if the tourism potential was fully leveraged. Noting the efforts of central and state governments in providing connectivity and tourism infrastructure, Mr. Naidu said that improving air connectivity to the region can singularly bring a significant positive impact on tourist inflows. Pointing out that India has 26 million outbound tourists every year, Mr. Naidu said that one could assume that most of them would prefer to travel local in the post-COVID-19 phase. He said this presents a huge opportunity for northeastern states to promote their tourism sector for this domestic audience. Union Minister for Road Transport and Highways Nitin Gadkari will inaugurate and lay the foundation stone for 33 highway projects in Karnataka tomorrow. These projects for inauguration and foundation laying carry a road length of nearly 1,200 kilometers, involving construction value of nearly 11,000 crore rupees. Paving the way for development of Karnataka, these roads will enhance better connectivity, convenience and economic growth in the state. Maharashtra Tourism Minister Aditya Thackeray laid emphasis on developing Konkan region as tourist destination and draws a series of plans including approval of beach shacks, attracting 5-star hotels among others to boost tourism in the region. Mr. Thackeray said extensive work will be done by the government for the development of tourism in Konkan in the future as well. He said there is a lot of scope for agri-tourism in the Konkan, including beach shack tourism, tent tourism and caravan tourism. The minister said people can get a lot of employment even through homestay. Today is World Minorities' Rights Day. The United Nations on December 18, 1992 adopted and broadcast a statement on the individual's rights belonging to religious or linguistic, national or ethnic minorities. The day is celebrated by the National Commission for Minorities in India, which focuses on religious harmony, respect and a better understanding of all minorities' communities.
North India is reeling under cold wave conditions. According to India Meteorological Department, cold wave to severe cold wave conditions are very likely in some pockets over Punjab, Haryana and Chandigarh, West Uttar Pradesh and North Rajasthan during next 3 days. Cold wave to severe cold wave conditions are very likely in some pockets over Punjab, Haryana and Chandigarh, West Uttar Pradesh and North Rajasthan during the next 3 days. Cold day to severe cold day conditions are very likely in some pockets over Punjab, Haryana, Chandigarh and Delhi, North Rajasthan and Northwest Uttar Pradesh during the next 2 days.
Now let us take a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. Jammu will have fog in the morning and a mainly clear sky later. Temperature will hover between 3 and 14 degrees Celsius. Srinagar is likely to have a mainly clear sky with temperatures hovering between -6 and 10 degrees Celsius. In Leh, there will be partly cloudy sky and temperature will vary between -16 and -1 degree Celsius. Gilgit will have mainly clear sky with temperature between -7 and 10 degrees Celsius. Muzaffarabad will witness mainly clear sky becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening, and the temperature will vary between 2 and 13 degrees Celsius. The national capital will experience a cold day with temperatures varying between 4 and 18 degrees Celsius. Mumbai will have a clear sky and temperature will vary between 21 and 32. Chennai is likely to have partly cloudy sky with light rain or drizzle and temperature will hover between 25 and 30 degrees Celsius. Kolkata is likely to have fog in the morning and temperature will vary there between 13 and 22 degrees Celsius. And now before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says government is ready to talk to farmers on every issue. Prime Minister addresses concerns over MSP and contract farming, cautions against false propaganda. National COVID recovery rate improves to 95.4%. Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal says FDI policies are being made more facilitative, congenial and supportive of foreign investment. And in cricket, India were 9 for 1 at stumps in second innings against Australia on day 2 at Adelaide. For details of these stories and more, log on to our website www.newsonair.com and News on AIR app. And with that, we end the evening news. Good night.